1965. The CIA's Corona spy satellites photographed the Soviet Union at 1.8-meter resolution. Sharp enough to spot a missile. Too blurry to tell a fighter jet from a transport on a tarmac. But a top-secret program was building a camera 3 times more precise, 50-centimeter resolution from 240 kilometers up. That camera was the KH-10 Dorian. Its developer? Perkin-Elmer. The same company that would build the Hubble Space Telescope's mirror 12 years later. 1960, the Cold War space race rages at white heat. The CIA launches its first Corona spy satellites, KH-1 through KH-4. They send back photos of the Soviet Union via film capsules, snatched mid-air by C-130 cargo planes. But these automated satellites have a fatal flaw: they cannot react to opportunity targets. A surprise Soviet military conference. A brand new missile site. An unannounced naval convoy. The National Reconnaissance Office, America's ultra-secret spy satellite agency, launches a program to fix this problem in 1963. It is called MOL, the Manned Orbiting Laboratory. Its camera's code name, KH-10 Dorian, stays classified until 2015. That is when the NRO's Historical Division releases its full declassified MOL document package. August 1965. The U.S. Department of Defense publicly announces the MOL program. The official story is blunt: MOL is a military orbital laboratory dedicated to studying human performance in space. Officials talk about tests for prolonged orbit survival. Scientific experiments on how microgravity affects the human body. Vague references to general defense applications. No mention of a spy camera. No mention of 50-centimeter resolution. No mention of specific targets inside Soviet or Chinese territory. The November 3, 1966 test flight, using a modified Gemini B capsule, gets framed as a routine atmospheric reentry test for future manned missions. The government claims it announced MOL in August 1965 as a human research program. But the Perkin-Elmer contract for Dorian was signed in 1965, months before the public announcement. The contract already included precise specifications, 0.5-meter resolution on ground targets. The 2015 NRO document on this contract confirms the espionage mission was locked in before the public even knew MOL existed. The government claims the November 3, 1966 test flight was a simple Gemini B capsule test. But the capsule used had a 60-centimeter wide hole cut into its heat shield. That hole let astronauts move directly from the capsule to the Dorian camera chamber. No spacewalk required. The partially declassified 1966 NRO test report never mentions human performance experiments. The government claims Dorian was a general reconnaissance system. But its 1966 classified specifications tell a different story: 160-inch focal length, 50-centimeter resolution at 240 kilometers altitude. That was sharp enough to spot individual fighter jets on Soviet airfields. Here's what no one explained. Every detail is confirmed by declassified NRO documents, released in 2015. The NRO Program Office document, Dorian Camera System Technical Specifications, dated 1966, lays out the exact numbers: 160-inch, per meter, primary focal length, 0.5-meter ground resolution at 240 kilometers altitude. The 1965 Perkin-Elmer Corporation contract, also declassified, confirms the Norwalk, Connecticut, firm built this unprecedented optics system. The same firm would build the Hubble Space Telescope's mirror 12 years later. The November 3, 1966 test flight provides physical proof. The NRO's test report specifies the capsule used was a recovered Gemini 2 from a January 1965 NASA mission. It was modified with a 60-centimeter wide hole in its heat shield. That hole let astronauts move directly from the capsule to the Dorian camera chamber, no spacewalk needed. The capsule survived atmospheric reentry. That is irrefutable proof the man-camera concept worked. James D. Ruffner, NRO Program Director for Dorian, wrote in Declassified notes, at 50 cm resolution, you can read the tail number on a Soviet fighter jet. For comparison, the CIA's Corona KH-10 satellite only reached 1.8 meter resolution. Dorian was 3.6 times sharper. The biggest revelation centers on MOL's cancellation in June 1969. The official story is straightforward. The Hexagon KH-9 program, an automated spy satellite, was cheaper. It could carry for film return capsules. That was the equivalent of multiple MOL missions, with no risk to a crew. But the NRO historical report, Hexagon vs. MOL Decision Memo, dated March 1969 and declassified in 2011, omits one critical detail. Hexagon could not react to opportunity targets. Unlike Dorian, no astronaut could pivot its camera toward a surprise Soviet military conference, a brand new missile site, or an unannounced naval convoy. Inference: the available evidence suggests the NRO cancelled MOL to avoid a catastrophic political risk. An astronaut captured or killed on an espionage mission would have triggered an international Cold War scandal. But that was only part of the story. The second revelation? The same Perkin-Elmer engineers worked on Dorian and the Hubble Space Telescope's mirror at the exact same time. That military-to-civilian technology transfer was never officially acknowledged by NASA. Today, Dorian's legacy is everywhere, even if the program remains unknown to most Americans. The KH-11 Kennen, America's first spy satellite with electronic image transmission, launched in 1976, draws its optics technology directly from Dorian. In 2012, the NRO donated 2 surplus KH-11 satellites to NASA. Their primary mirrors are identical in size to the Hubble Space Telescopes. Commercial reconnaissance satellites, like those operated by Maxar Technologies, now reach 30 cm resolution. That is a direct technological line that started with Dorian in 1965. No MOL program official has ever been publicly questioned about the program's real objectives. And some Dorian-related documents remain partially classified. MOL was sold to the public as a human space research laboratory. The declassified NRO documents tell the real story. It was a photographic espionage platform, armed with the Dorian camera. A camera sharp enough to read a Soviet fighter's tail number from 240 kilometers up. Its technology shaped both civilian astronomy and today's spy satellites. One question remains unanswered. How many civilian space programs still hide secret military missions? Subscribe to The Truth They Hide so you don't miss what comes next.